Eizouken ni wate udasana upon my first viewing was a shot of pure nostalgia. It perfectly encapsulates that idyllic childhood scene of curling up under a blanket on a dark summer's night and binge-watching anime like only a teenager could. You know, when life was simpler, before the oppressive weight of bills, rent, food, depression, and mind-altering drugs obliterated any lasting hope I had for an enjoyable life. Before I had to worry about anything, and it was just that moment of me, in the dark, completely absorbed by a world of wonder. Oh, shit. That scene's literally in this series. Well, video over, I guess. Alright, pack it up, let's go, we're done. Or is it? I mean, that's more of a feeling I get rather than an actual thesis or statement. So, why? What was this series trying to impart? Why do I feel that way when watching Eizouken? Why does it feel like a series I've seen before? In a comfortable sense, not predictable. Like revisiting an old friend I haven't seen in years, Eizouken feels like home. Through the series' art, animation, and voice acting, it captures excitement like no other I've ever seen. Employing rough outlines to emulate cell animation, and watercolors and incomplete fills to showcase a rough draft vibe that shows an imagination at work, Science Saru is harkening back to days long past in the medium, creating a series that looks more like this, rather than creating anything that looks like its contemporaries. But why go for an older style? Why would the studio, or rather director, want to emulate that sort of aesthetic? Masaaki Yuasa, the director and co-founder of Science Saru, cites many older animations as inspiration, from the 1971 Lupin III anime, the 1968 Yellow Submarine movie, to animation legends like Tex Avery. Emulating styles he grew up and started out with in a love letter to a sort of animation rarely seen these days in newer properties. Expressing his experience with older, more stylistic works like Crayon Shinchan and Youjohan Shinwa Taikei, influences that are felt in his more recent works, this and The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, which is why I feel so comfortable with this series, as I'm sure any longtime anime fan is. Growing up in the West in the 90s and 2000s, anime finding its way to television or onto VHS and DVD was usually older in nature. Properties that defined the childhood of so many early otakus in the West were franchises that aired in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, where animation was done by hand. Standouts like Lupin III, Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Trigun, and Cowboy Bebop carried a specific style in their line work and movement, something modern animation lacks. With the rise of digital tools creating an ease of process, it allows for work to look incredibly polished. Frame to frame, movements are nearly flawless in how one flows into the next, selling a clean action. This neatness isn't bad, but seeing imperfections gives a personality to work, one that makes it identifiable. Finding a series that mimics the older, rough lines, sort of jitteriness, and ambition seen in these older works for camera movements and action is what taps into a pure sense of wonder many fans initially felt when watching anime all those years ago. Eizouken manages to hold on to an inspiring sense of adventure, missing in so many stories being released currently. Real adventure. The sense of exploration and unknown that causes raw excitement to course through its viewers' veins, reminding its audience of their childhood by tapping into that manifest sense of discovery of finding a forgotten path and seeing where it leads. These are sensations I haven't felt in a long time. That being genuine excitement, along with the characters as they view their world through childlike wonder. Where many other series released today try and turn the fantastical into reality, such as going to another world or finding out you're actually special and everything you know is a lie, Eizouken gives the audience a clear sense of awe by allowing imagination to center itself in frame, which is how it stays engaging for its audience by demonstrating ideas from birth to implementation, following the thought process as an idea takes physical shape on screen. Seeing the cast sculpt and craft their world like an actual construction until it fits their vision, blending a world of metaphor with reality in a way that's, in itself, a metaphor for anime. I find that sort of obvious and redundant scene, that anime is crafting animation into reality while they're literally doing that, beautiful. Their creative process unfolding in a chaotic swell of bouncing ideas until the group lands on something workable. As some sort of nerdtastic zeitgeist wills cannons to appear from traffic barriers, A hot spring world needs boats and water elevators, and a giant robot can't actually exist because human pilots would get hurt is reminiscent of how children haphazardly make games with arbitrary rules, marrying that whimsy with the crushing deadlines and limitations of what anime can actually accomplish due to its small resources and finite time. As much as this series shows how amazing anime is in a way that speaks to fans who have felt those sensations firsthand, it manages to temper that excitement with realism that deepens an appreciation for the medium. Seeing the compromises made to get their work to air, the hours put in, the dedication needed to see it through as people work themselves to the brink of exhaustion, and the tenacity to stand up at the end of that and choose to do it all again, tells me as a viewer that the staff love their professions, that they're just as excited to create something new as we are to consume it. Which brings me back to this scene at the start of the series. Trying to put into words why this particular scene spoke to me isn't easy, but if I have to, I'd say it's because it appeals to nostalgia, but not as most look at it. When most people talk about appeals to nostalgia from a franchise, many times it's because it shows the wrong reasons, such as reminding me of something I've seen before or watched already with little relevance besides, it exists.
Remember Chewbacca again? Oh, I love to remember Chewbacca.
That's not what the nostalgia in this franchise is. Rather, showing a clip from Future Boy Conan and expecting the audience to be excited, it shows the character discovering that excitement for herself firsthand. It's not one instance of something feeling that dopamine hit, but connecting with that awakening as an anime fan. Eizouken ni Wateu Dasana is a nostalgic appeal because it makes fans remember why they fell in love with anime. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and do all the other YouTube stuff to help the channel grow. You can also join my Discord with a link down in the description. And if you really want to support me, you can head on over to my Patreon and pick up some extra perks like voting on what I do next. Thanks for watching.